Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League today. We're doing Chelsea against the Arsenal. It's an interesting game. I watched this game today, and haven't really been able to watch that much football or really catch up and do as many videos as I want to, as you probably well know. But I should be back to it a full stretch by Wednesday of this week. But if there's any games that you want me to cover that I haven't done yet, let me know, because I will put some in the Patreon as well, because I can do things quicker over there. And I should be back by next weekend as normal. As well, don't forget to join our live stream on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. I'm going to be covering a couple of topics on that live stream. And it's interesting, actually, comments on one of my videos. It's blatant that a lot of people don't know what they're talking about in football and they have an opinion. And I'm going to cover some of that. It's because a lot of people, they're younger, they've not played football, and they don't understand what's a foul and what's not a foul. And that's very apparent in this game today against Arsenal-Chelsea. So the referee completely and utterly lost control of this game in the first maybe 4 minutes of the game. None of it's on the highlights. You won't know it. The red card, you won't know, like, all of it. Unless you actually watch the games live, you wouldn't have a clue. And so how does he lose control of the game? Well, it's really easy for a referee. It's a North London derby. There's lots of pressure on. There's going to be lots of dodgy tackles. And as a referee, you've kind of got to pick a stance. You either book everybody for everything, or you don't book anybody and you let the game go for about 15 minutes and then you start trying to stamp your authority on the game. Because otherwise you're going to be in a situation when there's so many yellow cards in the game, which there was in this game, that it basically ruins the game. You know people are putting in bad challenges. You know yellow card challenges are going in. So you're in this situation. I can't remember exactly who it was, but I think it was Chalobah and somebody else that didn't get booked. And then all of a sudden an Arsenal player gets booked for a similar challenge a couple of minutes later, and you've just annoyed both teams. One team is haha, we're getting away with it. The other team is ref, what you doing, because they're getting away with it. And then it ruins and disrupts the whole flow of the game because of the referee. And this was actually quite an interesting game for a little while, because both teams were going at each other. And Chelsea had the better of Arsenal, I'd say, for the first majority of the first half, until, of course, there's a red card, which we're going to talk about as well. There's some dodginess going on this red card as well. But I want to show you this little strike here on the ball. And he fires it. He blazes over the bar. It was like miles away. But I want you to look at his body shape and his body position, right? Because one of the things like you hear in YouTube or you hear on a sports commentary is a lot of utter nonsense. And they don't actually say anything. They say things like, oh, he didn't get his knee over the ball. We didn't get his knee over the ball. The ball's just on the rise. The problem is his standing foot here. I'm going to explain that in a minute. They never actually say anything. They say sort of generic things that people have just said forever, and people think, oh, he's got a good opinion. And there's no opinion made there. They just talk nonsense. So when this guy's going to strike the ball, you can actually see the reason he ends up completely mishitting this and skying it. Well, there's two reasons. The ball's on the rise. So when the ball's on the rise, his standing foot cannot be this close. It has to be further away. The reason why is because his body shape, think of it like this, okay? It needs to be more like that. He needs to be more more of an angle so he can actually hit the centre of the ball, not underneath the ball. And he can't hit the centre of the ball because his standing foot is so close to the ball, he can only get underneath it and he's only going to sky it. Okay, he's not hitting the ball correctly on a bouncing ball. He's rushed it. That foot needs to be at least about there. And if he does, he's getting actually in the centre of the ball because his body shape will be correct and he's got a chance of getting this on target. There's two players in front of him. He's probably not getting a goal. But it's one of those things where you can see it and you can just go, oh, look, he just hasn't practiced this enough. He knows it's just not good. And also there's another different part of this technique as well. It's because he's actually running onto a bouncing ball, which is different than standing still and hitting a bouncing ball. Now, if you're a striker and you want to do different drills or different coaching or a coach and you're trying to teach any of this, every single time that you're doing a drill, you have to think of it, are they running, are they standing still? Because every single part of that is a different technique. It's different timings. It's different understandings of how to strike the ball. So don't be afraid to go, okay, we're doing it now, bouncing a ball, and you're trying to strike the ball. Now we're doing it running in, trying to get the timing right. Practice and practice and practice until you start getting it right on all different levels. But let's move it on because I've got lots to talk about still. So here's the red card incidents when Caicedo just is faking that he's injured. Now, I actually think, right, because he's faking he's injured, I think this gives them more time for VAR and for these decisions to be made. Now, is it if you look at this, you go, is it a red card? Yeah. If the ref gave him a yellow, you go, yeah, all right, it could have been a red, right? Quite easily, there is no way that you're going to say this is. People will agree with you either way. 100% red. There'll be loads of people say that. Give me yellow and keep the game going. Yeah, all right. I don't like seeing red cards, especially for challenges that. Let me show you where he hits him first, so I can make my point a little more clear. Now, here we go. He's going in, studs up into the ankle. Yeah, you're going, yeah, red card. See, I always have this little thing. He actually looks like he's trying to play the ball. If it's a little bit above there, and he's going into the knee or any height up there, definitely a red card. There, I'm going, yeah, it's a red. It's strong yellow. It's one of those ones, to me, it's in between. And you'll know the people that haven't played a lot of football because they'll go, it's a red, it's a red, it's a red. Yeah, I get it. It studs up, but this happens all the time. Like, all of the time. And now you're in a situation where, because the ref's lost control, he's got no choice but to send him off. Because he's issuing all these other yellow cards, this has to be a red card in this game. And then the game of football's ruined. And people don't look at it in sort of the bigger picture and like, oh, the game of football and what's next week and the week after. They look at this micro incident because they're either an Arsenal fan or a Chelsea fan and they build up their opinion on that. Instead of going, look, we kind of want free-flowing football. We want football to have tackles in it and, a bit of violence, physicality in the game. And it's all getting taken out. All of it. Back in my day, that wouldn't even have been a yellow card. They were just going to get up and get on with it. The fact that Caicedo thinks that he's injured and goes down. See, if I was the referee, this is exactly what would have happened. I would have come in and yellow carded him for that tackle. Okay. Then, when he gets back on his feet, I would have yellow carded him for simulation of acting that he was injured when he injured the other person, and that would have been the red card. That's what I would have done. But it's getting worse and worse. The amount of times people think that contact is a foul or the ball hitting a hand is a handball. It's not. This is a contact sport. Always has been. Just because a bunch of babies are now playing it and all these people that think, words is violence, that's not. It used to be so much tougher than this. That would have just been a normal tackle on a normal day and no one would have cared less. Now, it's, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And it's a red card. To me, I'm going, nah, I can see it being given. But I also think Caicedo making a meal of it is giving the VAR people time to go, hold on. Let's have a look at that a minute. Because there's lots of other little incidences. I think there was an Arsenal player that elbowed somebody, and that wasn't a red card, even a yellow card. I mean, people got elbowed. I'll tell it on the Monday night live stream about some of the Nigerian World Cup boys and what they thought about playing in England and stuff, and the different levels of, how they used to get punched and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, there's so many things that just don't do in football anymore. And I also believe the reasons that people get injured so much nowadays is because their body isn't used to getting knocked. They get knocks and dinks all the time as they're playing, and that doesn't happen. So when they get one little knock, it twangs and they're out for 6 months or so. But let's move it on, because let's get on to the goals. Before you do, let me know what you think in the comments below, red or yellow, or you would have just played on because you're a man. Look at the smile on his face, though. Look at how happy he is to be centre of attention. Look at that. Awful. You want to know what's ruining the game? It's right here. Now, there's another point about this. I'll talk about this on Monday Night Live again as well. Referees, most of them have never played football at any sort of standard. They don't know. They don't understand. So, yeah, it's awful. If you're new to the channel, you won't have heard me have this rant this season, but if you've been around for a while, you know exactly what I'm going to say about corners, and there should be a person on the post. If there was a person on the post here, this goal doesn't go in because they clear it, right? Why do you have a person on the post? If your goalkeeper is on that post there, right, you want somebody on that post there for this very reason. Again, I keep going back to things that they used to do in football. The reason they did it was because it stopped things happening, and they just go, oh no, that's not, we're wasting a player and all this other nonsense, or and it's quite good marking from Arsenal. They do well, except for the only thing that they need to do is jump and win the first header, and they don't. Everywhere else they're doing a good job, except for here on this little front post. So as the ball comes in, bump, got a little flick. Now here's the thing: if you've got a person on this back post here, what they're now doing, they're now reading the ball and they're stepping forward this way, where you can see these players are too far under the flight of the ball. So the ball actually goes over them because they're under the flight of the ball. If you've got a person on the back post, You save it. Why do you need it? Because the keeper's too far on the front post. If the keeper's putting himself in that situation, you protect your keeper by having somebody else there, and they don't do it. Overall, it's just really not good enough. Arsenal are decent. See, if it wasn't Arsenal, you go, oh, they conceded a goal from a corner, but it's Arsenal, and they're really good at this. So you've got to be double hard on them and go, that is absolutely unacceptable, because they don't let corners in like this. They don't let goals in like this. They've got 2 players marking one. Could have had just one other person sitting over here on the back post. So also I want to show you this as well. I think, because I've been so busy lately, I haven't caught up with enough football. And I think it was, I might do the game. I think it's Man City against Leeds. I think Leeds were robbed when someone's pushing the Leeds goalkeeper. I think it's probably Bernardo Silva, because he's a rat. And I think the Chelsea player tries to do the same here. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Look, he's trying to, before just as the ball's kicked, Chelsea's players pushing the goalkeeper in the back, trying to make it difficult for him, because, of course, now you're allowed to foul goalkeepers, well, depending on what team you are and on who the referee supports, right? We all know that. It depends on who the referee supports whether or not you're allowed to do this or not. Now, the other weird thing I've just sort of spotted is, this is why I'm advocating for a person on the back post, right? Why is Arsenal's line up high a little bit like this? Remember, one of the stupidest things I've ever heard is, I've heard this, I've heard people say this that have actually been in football. Well, you're going to catch him offside from the corner. You can't catch him offside from the corner. The ball's on the line, you muppet. Yeah, some of the dumb things people say and do in football is amazing. But yeah, to me, Arsenal just didn't defend this properly. And that, see, look, he shoves him. There you go. Then he stands in his little offside position. And then they end up, going back after the little flick here. Person on the post, though, would have saved the day. Let's move it on. Actually, just to make my point even more, as the ball's going in across the line, you would have seen if someone was right there, boom, they would have just cleared that. Easy. Job done. Winner, chicken dinner. Stop being bad at football. This is the build-up for the Arsenal goal. And Chalobah is absolutely nowhere near close enough to Saka to stop him doing anything, okay? As I move this forward, Saka just pretty much gets to do what he wants. Chelsea are actually in a good position. You see the 4 here? This is actually a really good defensive position if you challenge the ball. If you don't challenge the ball and you let the player with the ball dictate to what's going on, he gets to do whatever he wants. Here, the left-back has no intention of trying to actually win the football. All he's doing is just jogging with him. Now, there is a bit of an overload over here, but we'll come to that in a second. Look at how his body shape's gone. Now he's facing down this way, okay? Obviously, I think Saka's been able to just run at him and do what he wants. Left back's completely and utterly taking himself out of the equation. He's not getting close enough to tackle for the ball. Now, I'm going to show you this if I can, because this is actually really important. And Arsenal are lucky they scored this goal. I'm going to show you why. So when he's gone and remember, Saka's run from here to here with a Chelsea player tracking him, and he's not actually trying to put a foot in or try to win the football. Remember that. 10 yards. He's gone. Not trying to win the football. When he gets to here, this ball has to go in, okay? That's when if you want to score goals, when you're going here, that's when the ball goes in. The reason for it is for the runners in the middle. They're the people that are, anticipating whether or not you're coming. So as you're running, boom, 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 they're running. They're starting their runs because they're waiting for a delivery, hoping that you deliver that ball, and it doesn't come. He cuts back and then delivers. And I want to show you, after, you can see that the way that their movement in the middle changes, and how it's so good, the fact that they're able to score from this, because basically Saka loses them the opportunity to have the power of following in from the cross, because he doesn't put the cross in. See, that's when they're expecting it, bump. Now they have to stop and change. That's when they lose momentum. Now when they're going to head the ball, they're heading from a standing still position. Instead of coming onto the ball, now they're standing there waiting for the ball. That's why they're so lucky they scored this goal. The only reason they do is because Saka's delivery is absolutely perfect. If it's not, they lose the opportunity. Absolutely lose it. You can't change your run. You're not any momentum, any flick from anyone else. You can't adjust to it because you stood still. Thankfully, Saka's delivery is perfect and he gets himself a goal. But again, we're talking about numbers up. What are you doing? Because you're in the box doing nothing. What are you doing? You're in the box doing nothing. You've got 2 Arsenal players completely and utterly unmarked, and you've got 3 Chelsea players doing absolutely nothing. It's like, all right, lads, you play with your team and I'll play with my team. We'll leave you 3 unmarked and you 3 don't bother us 3. All right, we'll do that. Sounds good. Because that's exactly what's happened here. Cross comes over, bump. 2v1 here. He's just like, whoa, what's happened? Am I supposed to be defending an Arsenal player? Not quite sure. Yeah, keeper's a little bit too far forward as well, by the way. It's one of those weird ones when you know the keeper can't come for a cross or do anything. There's something wrong with his body shape, his positioning. I say body shape a lot, but a lot of the times when I'm using that, because I use it for multi-level things, it can be their positioning. It can be lots of different things when I'm saying that. Jumps up, gets himself a header, boom, finishes it, 2v1. It's really easy, but yeah. Oh, let me check if there's anything else before I sign off. Yeah, I wanted to comment on the wimp of this goalkeeper. Right. Goalkeepers don't roll around on the floor. They don't do anything. I'm going to have to write that in my notes. Story of goalkeeper. I had a goalkeeper we played for. We ended up playing at this ground like, I don't know, twice, 3 times, something like that. And every single time we played at that ground, our goalkeeper had to be air ambulance to hospital. Like, absolutely brilliant stories. Yeah, keepers don't roll around on the floor. They're different people. If he's rolling around on the floor, he's not a real goalkeeper. They're made of different stuff. Like, they're the things that that carve out granite mountains. That's what goalkeepers are. This is just a half challenge. He's got every right to go for that ball, and he needs to as well, in case the keeper drops it out of his hands or does whatever. He barely touches him here as he slides in. Bump. It's just slide momentum. It's just 2 people coming together, sliding. And he rolls around on the floor like, I don't know, he's been... Look, here he is, rolling around on the floor like he's been shot. Look at that. Kicking his legs. Everyone like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's barely touched you, and you're having an absolute tantrum on the floor. Oh, my God. If I was your coach, I'd be subbing you off right now for being an embarrassment to the shirt that you're wearing. You're supposed to be a tough guy. You're supposed to be a role model to everyone, and you're rolling around on the floor because someone slid into you. What are you doing? Yeah, sorry. That's shocking. And I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.